This is the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
And Mary said, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord. My spirit rejoices in God my Savior. For you, Lord, have looked with favor on your lowly servant. From this day, all generations will call me blessed. You, the Almighty, have done great things for me, and holy is your name. You have mercy on those who fear you, from generation to generation. You have shown strength with your arm, and scattered the proud in their conceit, casting down the mighty from their thrones and lifting up the lowly. You have filled the hungry with good things, and sent the rich away empty. You have come to the aid of your servant Israel, to remember the promise of mercy, the promise made to our forebears, to Abraham and his children forever." This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. You may be seated. I think Christmas is a time when a lot of us look back over the past year and what's happened in our lives, what's changed between last Christmas and this. And for my family, a lot of things have changed. My family has grown by about 40%. We had twin girls just about five months ago, and it's been an amazing year. But I think the thing I've noticed changing the most over the last year isn't necessarily the two new baby girls in my family, although that's a big, big change. But it's my son, who's now 3.5, and talking and talking and talking like there's no tomorrow. In fact, if anybody, I'm sure, has had 3-year-olds around the house, you know that the one thing they're really good at is asking questions. Questions upon questions upon questions, hundreds of them in a day, sometimes rapid fire, dozens of them in just a minute. And I've found myself kind of falling into a little bit of a trap that, because there are so many questions coming at me all of the time. Questions like, can I have chocolate for breakfast? Can I tackle the babies? Can I go ahead and sleep downstairs by the TV instead of up in my room tonight? These kind of questions come up again and again. Do we have chocolate? Can we go buy chocolate? Can I have money to go buy chocolate? It progresses all the way through. And so I found myself kind of falling into a little bit of a trap, I think, where no matter what the question is coming to me from my son, the first answer is always no. I don't even listen to the question. It's just no. And only if he really protests and says, "Well, what do you mean? That's ridiculous. You've never said no before." Then I listen to the question and figure out what it is, and we can, work our way from there. But it's a good filtering method. It kind of cuts down a little bit. And actually, as I've been doing this, I recognize from my own childhood that maybe my parents used a little bit of this too. I can remember growing up that anytime I would ask for something, it seemed like the first answer was always no, and I'd have to fight my way over the next hour to like a maybe, and then maybe you get somewhere. But it's, I think, a common sort of thing. It's a good filtering technique. When you have that many questions, you always kind of have to filter them out somehow. But at least as we're making our way through this Christmas, I'm trying to make a conscious decision to not do that quite as much. I'm still going to say no plenty of times, I know that. But I want to actually listen to those questions and see where it is that I can say yes. And I'm doing that because as I look back over the last year, the most wonderful moments I've had as a parent, the most fun I've had, are those moments where I get to say yes. Those moments where a question comes up like, "Will you play hide and seek with me?" Or, "Can we go and chase mommy?" Or even sometimes, "Yes, can I have some chocolate?" Every once in a while I say yes to that. But those moments where I get to say yes, where we get to play a new game, where we get to do something together, those moments when I see my son's face light up, that he can do one of the things he really wants to do, those are amazing moments. And they stick in your mind. They change just a little bit of who you are and what that relationship looks like in our family. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Saying yes can be such a powerful thing. And I think that's what this story is about, this Christmas story that we heard read, the very beginning of this Christmas story. We often think of the first Christmas miracle as that baby being born there in the manger. But no, the first miracle of Christmas is not the birth of Jesus, but Mary saying yes. This girl, maybe about 15 years old, had every reason in the world to say, no, God, I think you should talk to someone else. I've got other plans. It's going to mess everything up. I need to do things a certain way. With every reason in the world to say no, Mary said yes. That's that beautiful poem that I read, the Magnificat, Mary saying yes to God. And that one word, that one moment, changed the whole world. That yes transformed everything about this world and the place that we live. One word from one girl, from an unremarkable town and an unremarkable place and an unremarkable family, by saying yes, changed everything. Yes is a powerful word. I think even in our own lives, as we go about our day-to-day lives, we have moments. Maybe they don't come around very often, but every once in a while there's a moment in our lives when we have a choice to make. It can be a choice about our career, about our family, about a new relationship, about something that we're being called to do. And time again, that comes down to a simple yes or a no. Questions like, will you marry me? Do you want to have children someday? What do you want to do when you retire? What kind of job do you want to have? Do we want to take this new job in this new city? All of these questions have profound implications on what will happen in our futures, and they're moments that change our lives. But I think there are also other questions that come up maybe not so dramatically, but quietly in the background of our lives, little nagging questions that call to us. Questions like, should I stop and talk to that person that I see every day on the way to work looking for money or for help? How is what my job is doing, caring for the people around me, is my job and my career really working for the benefit of everyone around me? How can I be the person God is calling me to be? These questions are always kind of unique to us. They're something that touches us in a very specific way. And I think each one of them on their own can be terrifying. There are moments when God calls us to do something new in our lives that pulls us off of whatever path we think we were on, that changes our plans. And they're difficult moments. And yet, somehow, every once in a while, there are people who hear that calling to a new career or to do something new in the world, that calling that God has sent for them. Every once in a while, somebody says yes. And in that moment, their lives are changed and the world around them is changed. And that's how God works. God has worked that way from the very beginning, from the moment he called to Mary with this amazing, monumental, and terrifying task. It changed the world, and since then God has been calling people throughout all generations to do something new, to do something that no one had ever expected, to do something that would change the world. And every once in a while, somebody says yes. As you prepare to go out this Christmas back to your families, your plans, whatever it is you do for the holidays, I hope that somewhere in all of that hustle and bustle, you hear just a still small voice calling you to do something new, calling you to do something that maybe is even a little scary and uncertain and might change the way your plans look for the future. But I hope you get a chance to hear that voice, to ponder it, to pray about it. And in the end, I hope you get a chance to say yes. Merry Christmas. Amen.